Welcome back, everyone. My guest in this week's episode is Jerrod Perrot. Jerrod is a Denver native. He grew up in Golden and received his Bachelor of Arts in English Communications from Fort Lewis College in 2003. Go Skyhawks! Jerrod is the owner of 5280 Custom Framing, a family-owned custom picture framing business located in lower downtown Denver. He serves as Vice Chair of Lodo District and Chair of Lodo Cares. Jerrod, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me, Katie. Glad to be here.
It's so exciting to have another Fort Lewis College alumni on the show.
Yeah. You don't run into too many of us.
Yeah, and we were both there a similar time, and I'm sure that we probably had a couple classes together, both of us being communications majors.
Yeah.
So, Jerrod, let's start back at the beginning. Tell us a little bit about growing up in Golden and what your life was like growing up.
Well, Denver native, as you said. We lived in Aurora until I was about 5, and then we moved to Genesee, if you're familiar with that area. Couldn't ask for a better place to grow up as a kid. I mean, you have just, a forest in your backyard and safe. It was great. So I'm, very partial to the west side of town, and I went to Golden High School, and then graduated and went to Fort Lewis.
Great, yeah. And for those of you that don't know where Fort Lewis is, it's a school down in Durango, Colorado. So it's about a 7-hour drive from Denver. As my mom put it, it's the furthest school you could go to that's still in state here in Colorado. What do you think about your upbringing that impacted your eventual career and professional journey?
Well, it was, I knew that it was conveyed to me that getting into the business was always an option. And, like any kid, it is the last thing in the world I wanted to do. I had other plans, and, roundabout way, I just ended up getting into it back in 2009 during the recession. And, I didn't really have a whole lot of other options at that point in time. So in a roundabout way, that's kind of what happened.
So talk to us about your different professional stops that you took along the way and how that eventually led to you, taking on these different chair positions and owning your own company.
Yeah. Well, I graduated in 2003, and as you mentioned, I was a communications major, and at that point in time, I remember, I think I applied at 130 positions, and I either found that I was underqualified or overqualified, and I couldn't find that entry level position.
What did you think that what you were going to be when you graduated?
Well, I was very interested in media. I wanted to work in television or for a print media, potentially radio. I was really willing to do anything. However, I was partial to working with the camera. My minor emphasis was on film. So the dream was kind of to work for a local station and potentially, work on some short films. Now that just didn't quite happen. And I remember I applied for a bunch of positions and couldn't seem to land anywhere. So after I graduated, I made the decision to move back to Durango, and I made what was going to be a short film that turned into a feature-length film down in Durango, and it was also supposed to take about a year, and it ended up taking 4.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, it was kind of a strange pattern, but yeah.
Now, if someone is listening right now who's an aspiring or a new business owner, what's the single biggest piece of advice that you'd want to give him or her as their journey starts?
Get involved with your community. I'm very active in the Lodo community. I serve on the board of Lodo District. I also am the chair of the philanthropic aspect of the district, which is Lodo Cares. It's a great way to just be involved, kind of know what's going on, have a say in what's going on, and also it's a great opportunity to meet your neighbors, know fellow business owners, know the residents. It's like a family, and I think it's probably one of the best things I've ever done.
If you could go back and do anything differently on your business journey to where you are now, what would you change?
It's a good question. I think I don't know if I would change anything. I think making mistakes and being having disappointing things happen is kind of how you learn and how you grow, not only as a person but also as a business owner. There's a lot of failures and disappointments I can look back at, and I wish that things had gone the other way, but at the same time, maybe try harder and learn a lesson and then hopefully approach it better next time.
What do you think that some of the biggest mistakes that business owners make when they're just trying to grow or just getting started out?
Well, I think I read the number one reason businesses fail is a lack of operating capital. So that's you got to have that. But yeah, I mean, I really think it's you've gotta get involved in your community, and I've seen it all the time in Lodo through the years. These businesses, they come and go, and nobody knew who they were. I mean, they just were kind of there, and then they're gone. So I wouldn't say that's the end all be all to be successful, but I think it plays a huge part. I think it plays a much bigger part than people realize.
Absolutely. And, being a part of that community can be different things like joining, the Chamber of Commerce, just trying to find and engage with other pages on Facebook that are, local to that area. And just making it known that you're there as one of the business owners and part of that community.
Yeah, and give back. I mean, you give back to Lodo has been great to me over the years, and I truly do feel like it's been so great to me. I do need to do my part and try and give back in any way that I can, and most of that's just time, But we've been so supported over the years, and yeah, I mean, I don't live in Lodo, but I kind of consider it to be my neighborhood as well.
Yeah, so let's talk about your company, 5280 Framing. What does your model look like for finding and engaging and selling to your ideal clients and customers?
Well, we're a retail business, and over the years, I've kind of tracked how people find us, and really the two big things always comes back to street presence and Google, and that's how people find us. And word of mouth is obviously great. Nothing beats that, but we've been very fortunate with a really great location, and I really focus a lot of my energies on Google and our website and social media and so on.
What type of marketing have you found works best for your business? I know every small business, a referral is the best form of flattery.
Right.
What type of marketing have you found that works?
Really, I think social media is great, but in the end of the day, I don't know how many customers it actually brings to your door. My recipe for success has always been our website, and I really spend a lot of time and focus on that. And I've actually set our website up as a blog, so every day I'm updating or adding fresh content, which helps us in SEO, and adding new content daily is huge. And I know for a fact that's not something a lot of people do.
Yeah, a lot of people, especially small businesses, because there's so many hats to wear when you're a small business owner, websites can kind of get pushed to the
Mhm.
back burner. I
Yeah.
have a website, but knowing, like you said, updating it and constantly being active on it, Google's just going to reward you for that, having
Yeah.
new fresh content for people to engage with on the internet.
Right. And, I have a husband and wife team I work with. They handle all the back end stuff, and they know all of Google's best practices and so on. So I know the back end is being handled. That's above my pay grade there. But yeah, I focus on my daily posts, and I do all the social media sites as well. Kind of do a one swoop through, and it takes me about 15 minutes a day. I do that before I go into work. But it's all with the website and Google.
What have you had to do? How have you had to pivot as a small business during this time? Right now, we're in the middle of the pandemic, so all of us are working from home. But for our listeners out there who might be listening to the episode, and hopefully we're out of the pandemic by this point, but how have you had to pivot?
Well, it's kind of just been more of an acceptance of what's going on. There's really not a lot I can do right now. I don't have really any control over the situation, and as a business owner, that's very frustrating because I always kind of felt like, oh, I can make this happen, make that happen, but I have no control here. So we are closed to the public. We're not an essential business, so we are closed. But I do go in every day because I still have to run the place, pay bills. But we're working on just kind of cleaning out the inventory. We're going through all of our molding bins and organizing, cleaning, kind of doing the stuff we can. We did have a backlog of about 3 weeks, so we did catch up on that. But yeah, now we're kind of just in a waiting game, and I'm still doing my daily blog posts and my social media posts. But aside from that, I don't have a lot of control right now, so I'm doing what I can to feel productive.
One passion that so many business owners and entrepreneurs have is to build a business around their lifestyle. How has that played out in your story and approach to running your business?
Building it around my lifestyle. Could you clarify that?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of small business owners, let's say a mechanic, says, I'm tired of working here. I want to just open up my own shop. And then
Yeah.
they get there and realize it's maybe a little bit more than what they anticipated, because they're not just doing the mechanic work anymore.
Yeah.
They're doing the books, and they're doing the hiring, and
Yeah.
they're doing the marketing.
Mm-hmm.
But the draw to it is, one, being your own boss and kind of picking your own hours.
Yeah.
But then the other side of it is also the amount of responsibility that comes with it.
Yeah. I started in 2009 during the last recession. I didn't know anything about running a business. And what happened was my store was in existence since 2004. And for one reason or another, it wasn't doing well, and it was either going to close or be sold for a very affordable price, which eventually it did, and that's how I kind of got into it. But yeah, I mean, it was help from my stepdad in kind of helping me kind of learn the ropes and all the stuff I needed to do. But a lot of it was just kind of learning as you go. But I was a very artistic kid. I used to be very into cartooning, and I can still draw, but it's not something I ever, it's like the thing you're good at. You don't want to focus on that. You want to do something, totally different. So I had kind of an artistic background, but as I've found throughout the years, I've definitely become more, left-brained in that sense, where I'm definitely more of the numbers and advertising and bookkeeping type of mindset that goes into it. But yeah, so I mean, but I work with a lot of our customers, most of them, I'd say, and I would say that I have a pretty good eye for design and so on. I've never actually framed a ton. My staff has done that because I've been kind of busy with the operations and so on. But as of late, I've really tried to kind of get that skill set kind of going again. So I kind of have an idea how to do things, So.
Yeah, and I mean, one thing too that so many small business owners need help with and learn along the way is, like you said, you thought you were going to be in media and that's the path you were going to go down, and took a lot of communications and English classes in college.
Yeah.
Who helped kind of guide you in learning the ropes of running a successful business?
Oh, my stepdad for sure. When I first started, my store was actually a franchise, and they weren't really they weren't local, first of all, and not entirely helpful. So he was really my only source of how to do things, especially like learning QuickBooks, which anybody who's used that, there's definitely a learning curve for that. But yeah, his overall knowledge, and someone I could just bounce any type of question off of, whether it be bookkeeping or how to handle a certain situation with a customer or this or that. He is and still, or was, and still is my go-to.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever received for your business?
Best piece of advice I received is just do everything you can to make sure the customer's happy. That's kind of been our motto. If you do that, you really can't go wrong. We bend over backwards for our customers, and I think as long as that's your main focus, you really, in retail, you really can't go wrong.
So before we finish up, is there anything that I didn't ask you about during today's discussion that you think is important to share?
I think just believe in yourself, believe in your product, and take care of your customers, and you really there's really nowhere else to go but up.
Jerrod, this has been such a great conversation. Where can we find out more about you and your business online?
Well, thank you. Our website is 5280customframing.com, and from there you can learn about what we do, see my daily posts, check into our social media sites, and see what we're all about.
Awesome. Well, wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Yeah, thank you, Katie. I appreciate it.